Hey guys, what is going on? Hey, look, there's Mary. Hey, Mary, look, you're on. I got any. Oh, wait a minute. I guess I should. There's Mary, my co host. Well, that's supposed to be us versus the ATM, but it looks like George, as always sleeping. But he is up. He took in both cats to be checked up. We had the vet come here last week, and two of them did get snipped and neutered. So now it's a follow up, and he literally left late, just got out of the shower, and now he's telling me that it's like busy traffic and busy getting there. So he might make it back. I don't know. So I am literally solo again. So Mary got her bath and clip yesterday. I actually had somebody come here to do it. So I finally found somebody after 6 months. They're a little bit of a distance away, but they do like all the Angel City area. And it was 500 for the works, which is $10. Try to get a grooming done in the US for a dog for $10. No way, especially the little ones. So it was 500 pesos, and then it was 200 fee because they're mobile. And they set up a table outside, cleaned up the mess, had a professional blow dry and everything. And they did really a good job. So they'll be coming back every month for sure. I don't want to be covered in her dog hair. Hey, Mary, can't go say hi? Is it your nap time? Huh? All right, guys. Today I want to cover human ATM in the Philippines for two reasons. For multiple. We had that guy that said his woman, he gave her a bunch of things, and then he claimed he was used or scammed out of money for the condo, which is a lot of money for a condo. You're going to have either your girlfriend or boyfriend here may ask you for money. Their family will definitely ask for money, and you're going to go through that. And then you're going to have what I see very persistent here. And I just experienced it several times this week where people are asking me for money, whether it's here at the house again or when you're out and about. I'm down MacArthur Highway in a shop. They find me. Of course, they're going to zero in. I'm real plus size. I stick out like a sore thumb, and they immediately bolt for me. But they do it to George when he's by himself, too. So it became for me a nuisance, and then they kind of heckled me when I denied them money. So they were very sarcastic about it. The other day, this was like 2 days ago, and they were up the street at the political guy's house. They come at 4:30 in the morning, really early. It causes the dog to bark. It's they sit outside of his house in piles, like they sit on their trike or they sit there at his door. And I went out to go take care of the dog and feed the outdoor cats that are strays. And I went to go dump some trash. And all of a sudden, this woman came up to me, like she just beehived right over. She's there to ask for money from them. And then she wanted to come over and ask me money too. And when I denied her, she got really persnickety. And I'm like, whoa, dude. And I said, no, I'm not giving out money here at the house. And when I first got here 3 years ago at this location, it was a daily occurrence several times a day. Just regular people that walked by just thought they would ask for money. And I'm like, I'm not giving out money. And foreigners have found this to be a problem here. I've talked to people that have been to other Asian countries, and they're saying the Philippines tends to have a heavy problem here. But when she made sure after I told her no 3 times outside of the gate here, she told me, she goes, but my mom is blind. And I'm like, I can see that. And I was holding my breath, and I was like, I can see that. And because the woman was really making sure that she showed me that she was blind, it wasn't going to change my mind. And she kept on and approached the gate. And then when she went away, it was a whole family that came to get money. And they were very sarcastic on the way. They were heckling me and yelling things at me. And then finally she goes, thanks, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you. You're so nice. And I'm like, bye. Have a good day. Because it's not gonna happen. I don't care if this is their country. I don't care. That doesn't mean that I have to give up money. And you guys have heard me talk about the kids. The kids are way different. I slowed them down just by giving them the occasional thing. Like we give them ice cream, and we got like popsicles in the deep freezer, but I had to slow them down because George gave him popcorn last year, and we started giving him junk all the time. Then they started asking for money. Then they didn't want anything but the money. And we've had kids come by in the last, I don't know, probably 2 months, and they're pretty persistent about the money. And when you tell them no, they're still like, give me the money, give it, give it. And I'm like, okay. So it just became a way. And so George gets upset when I talk about it. And I'm like, well, you said don't give it out. I'm not going to give it out because it's just, you just can't keep doing it. They'll expect it from the next person. Kind of like the heavy duty tipping and stuff. It's not a tipping culture when us foreigners do it. Then, when another expat gives a 500 peso tip, then they're going to look at me like I'm nasty. And it's like, I'm sorry. So, but that's where I am on this today is the topic. I want to hear from you guys. And in a sense, they think that I am a human ATM. Sometimes I get extremely overcharged. George will not speak up on him. He only does it part of the time. But he's super, I keep calling him passive and he just stays quiet about it. It tends to be a very, for Filipinos, there's just a kind of a way of life where they just kind of go with the flow. But at some point, I've seen George like totally blow up at people, and it's because Filipinos kind of get to the point of having enough, and then boom, they're off the chain. And so I believe me, George does it. You guys I wish you guys could have seen him at the not the mall, but we were at a store the other day. Same thing. So would it be called poverty entitlement? George, I'm tired of apologizing for George getting offended when I say stuff like that about the Filipinos. But if we were in Mexico, I'd call him out. If I was back in the US, I'd call him out. And I would do it in the UK when I was there. I'd do it in when I was in Egypt and the Middle East. And honestly, I do feel that. I do feel that they feel that I have to give it to them because they were very persistent, and I shouldn't have had to say no 3 times. And I've mentioned this before. Harold Balder says he just won't give it. He doesn't care. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. And I was kind of taken back by rudeness because it was, I can't remember. I think it was an older lady and a child. And he just flat out told him, no, I'm not going to give it to you. I'm like, damn. And that's cold, man. And this was about 2 years ago. And then I started thinking about it, that if I keep giving money outside of her door, one, came several times a day. I think they told each other. Literally, people came on trikes and everything. And I'm like, I'm not going to do it. They must go home, talk about it, and then come back. That's what I believe. And then just people in the neighborhood. And so I'm just like, and then also people say, oh, well, it's the neighborhood you live in. No, it doesn't matter. Honestly, this is not what they would consider the poorest neighborhood. It may not be the best neighborhood, but we're not sitting in a 5,000 peso a month place or a brick place that costs 3,000 pesos a month. So there are middle-class people in this neighborhood. And so, no, it's just a mix every time I go out. So it does deter me because I don't want to be rude and I don't want to say no. And then becomes also the part I talked about, the ATM part of being overcharged. And I worry about that. Like, I still haven't had the electricity thing fixed yet. And the landlord stopped by. It's been over 2 weeks now. And he came back through and he goes, oh, by the way, the electrician guy, which I don't even think he's an electrician. I think he's just a handyman. He goes, oh, he didn't get a hold of you? I was like, no. So then he went back and forth. And he came to collect rent from somebody. And then he's like, oh, well, he's over in Tarlac. And that's it. He didn't say he would contact him. He didn't resolve it. He walked away. And I'm like, that's kind of where it is. But I'm afraid that if I call in any other service, professional or not, because professional doesn't always mean, like a 12-car fleet with electricians with licensing. If you do hire in people like that here in the Philippines, it could cost you American prices. And I've seen it. But if I call in somebody that's been running a family business, they're going to base it. George is either at the family home, gaming, working, or, the time that we're spending alone. But usually in the daytime, he's all over the place. Well, if I'm here, they're definitely going to overcharge me. And that's what's got me worried. And no other country did this except for here. And so I get it that people need money and it's a hustle thing. And I do feel it's a hustle culture. It's going to offend probably mostly Filipinos because expats have experienced this. And I don't have infinite money. I don't. I've told you guys that I'm on limited money, limited savings. I didn't come here to pay premium prices. I didn't come here to live, lifestyle of the dating and fabulous, where, the guys are, looking like millionaires based on their credit cards or overspending. And I'm not going to try to keep up, with the Joneses. It does happen with the expats. They do tend to overspend, trying to look bigger in front of people. They try to shame people about, oh, I own this car, and oh, you've only got a motorcycle. It's still done over here, when it comes to the expats too. So, but so that is the discussion on the table. Got my iced coffee. The one thing George managed to do is bring donuts. I'm like, dude. So he managed to swing with them before he headed out. So got the old trusty donuts and coffee. So grab your beer and your coffee. We'll go through some of the comments. I do see Sarah is in the house. Hey, what's going on? Yeah, like I said, I'm sure you heard me in the beginning. It's he took the cats in, and I'm trying to stay on the path of the live streams that are due at least the 2-3 times a week. Probably still going to continue the Saturday ones. But no, the cats did really well. We got Easter and Mommy done. We can't do the kittens until July. The boys are hyperactive right now. Oh my God, they're getting up on the counters. It's crazy. Like, it's the little girl, Megan. We intend to keep her for sure. We haven't decided on the boys and Mommy. Mommy keeps trying to get out, and I did mention this in a live stream, and she did not get out. But and they reassured us, not reassured us. They said that if she'd have got out, she probably would. They reassured that if she would have got out, that she'd probably would have got pregnant. So I'm like, oh, thank God, because I guess they go into heat and all this other stuff right after, like, because the kittens are almost 3 months old. But so no, they got these little cuts on the side of their stomach. So that first they wore a cat suit for a few days, and then and then you can't even see it. It looks like a marker, it's really kind of cool. They don't do it like the one vet had like a cut from like top to bottom, and these are like on the side. So, but I didn't do the follow up. He just took them in to the regular vet. So we did have it here. So, anyways. So hey. So that's where he is. He might make it back. He's yelping traffic and everything else. So you can't, surprisingly, on days that he's out and about, he's doing several things like gas and different stuff. Hey, she's saying, hey, what's going on? MB, smile and be happy is in the house. One second. I've been sitting tight to the news about what's been going on in the U.S. and with the tariffs, and there's a lot going on. I can't even, let me check something here. Trying to open up the live stream here. I try to keep an eye on it. Good morning from Lapita Antique. I hope everyone is safe and peaceful and working on their breakfast time. Yeah, and let us know, or let me, because George rewatches this. Just let us know where you're at. And it's been hot, like ridiculously hot and sticky. And we will be down with a power outage on Friday. I am not happy. I never did order that battery pack. I've been putting it off because we've had other expenses and other things going on. And I meant to get it. And we have a generator, but I think he attempted to do something with the spark plug and something else, and he never got back to the project. So that's still sitting there. So I should have just bought another generator a while back. They're fairly inexpensive here, but a 12-hour power outage, the oversized battery pack that we have lasts a while. It keeps the internet on, it keeps the phones charged, and recharging the small fans. And the refrigerator, if we keep it closed, it will last for the 12 hours. But the second battery pack we ordered yesterday, and it's on its way. It will not make it. So it just stinks. It really stinks. And there's been a lot of small power outages in Angel City and in Mabalacat. Just crazy. So I am not looking forward to that. I end up with a headache and my nose is clogged because running the air filters that clean the air won't help at that point. So yeah, worse than the cats being here. Hey, like a spot is in the house. Aloha from Nosy OC, not No C. And Geo is in the house. Good morning, Geo. And if you guys aren't familiar, I'm sure most of you are with Geo, be sure to check out his channel. He's I watched that interview the other day about the Manila incident on the airport, him being the guy being there, but he does really great interviews. That's the one thing when he does his interviews is the one thing that I really like. And when he would talk about different things about working and when he did online and him doing teaching and everything. So, hey, Tony, what is going on, Tony? There, I was trying to watch what else was it that I seen? They're getting ready to deport a bunch more people in the U.S. to another country. Remind me what country it is. But they said they aren't even aware or they have not talked to the U.S. about them coming. So just like the last batch, whether they need to or not, I know they need to go if they're there illegal, but it's still the due process thing and being more proper about it and not bipolar about it. So it's like, you think I was the one deporting people, get the hell out, man. But no, he's getting ready to send another batch of people off. And there's that and a couple different things going on. Yeah, you can see Mary there. This is the pad that we put down. They're washable. And so George sits on them so he doesn't get cat hair on him, although we vacuum the couch. But Mary, you're not going to say hi? Huh? Hi, Mary. Hi, Mary. Want to say hi? Is it your nap time? Bet if I give you some donut, you'd wake up. You want some donut? Yeah, she will later. So, Miss Mary, she did really good. The guy said, there was three of them. One was like a vet, and they do vaccinations and worming and other things, which is really great. So, because when we had the vet come here and fix the two last week, they charged $20 right off the bat for showing up for anything, including that. I already bought wormer. We already do like a flea oil, and I was bathing Mary for the last 6-7 months, except for the one time, the first time we sent her somewhere, but after that it was me. But it is a real hassle because I have just a regular blow dryer. Theirs was like a what do you call the professional business size, and she was like dry. He went over a few times and she was dry. So I'm happy because it cost me 900 pesos because the deal was 500, so I gave them each 100. So I thought 100 on a $500 500 peso. I say hundreds here as in U.S. money, but 500 peso. I gave each 100 pesos, and it was a 200 peso travel thing. So it's still 900, which is about $14. So I'm still like ecstatic on it. So even on a budget, you can afford that. If I was back in the U.S., I would just 100% be doing her, because the last I knew, and it's probably even more expensive, when I did a Chihuahua, when I took him into a place, I think I was out at a place that my dad knew was about $45, and that was he gave a discount. They did the full thing. They did her ears, her nails, they did perfume, shampoo, they did something else. Yeah, they trimmed all the hair around her feet, and they did it really quick. Hello, what is going on from Pangasinan? Hey, Rob, appreciate you guys being here. It's hard to find a groomer, whether it's mobile or not. I was. Here's the thing. I've seen a few of them, and we almost had one. And here comes some more offending. The guys, I like seen them do the grooming. They put videos on, And I understand. There were two things that was kind of off for me. One is the way they were advertising, and the other was they were attacking another customer and somebody else in their own Facebook page. And then the guys just looked rough. I mean, I watched them groom the animals. They were kind of rough and they were tatted. They had tats on their neck. So to me, they looked, there's a difference between being tatted and like my Uncle Charles that was tatted because he was a biker versus a guy that actually looks like a gang member. And they both looked like they belonged. It just, for me, I felt uneasy. And, that's up to me how I feel about that. And even George was like, he's like, yeah, that's a little rough. And especially the way they're talking about their customers and fighting them in front of everybody, because that's really unprofessional. So we decided not to go with them, but they kept harassing us afterwards. Like we just asked initially for a price before we found all this out, and they just didn't stop. They kept saying, we just got a little harassed from them on the side afterwards. But it's really hard to find one, and usually you have to take them in. If you take them in, you never know. A lot of businesses don't do a lot of appointments, even if they set them up. And then I can't stand around for an hour, and so it is. So I was really happy. They're super professional. Now they are about 8 miles away, but they do cover Angeles. You just have to pay them a few hundred pesos to come. And I don't know how they're making any money. They do have a pet boarding and everything. And they have a physical office because there's three of them. And three of them go out in what looks like a new truck. And I'm like, ooh. So in some areas by them, they actually pick them up, bring them in, and then bring them back out. But they said, you're too far away. So that's cool. So, yeah, Gio's good people. I'm sorry about his divorce and everything. I know we talked about it. It's just, I was shocked that he got married because he was like the single guy. I always knew him as being, the guy that did his dating. And, I thought he would have stayed a free bird for a while. So then it was shocked and, it was shock. And then, hey, what is going on, Victor? Jennifer is in the house. Hey, Cookie Bear. Yeah, so that's what we were talking about. I do feel that. I do feel there's and you know what? There's a handful of vloggers that I know that will just say it. And sometimes I don't want to say it because I know George is going to give me a hard time about it. And I slowed down on some of what I was saying, but you still can't stop this train for real. And he was really offended when I was telling him. And I said, yeah, I said, but they felt like I owed them that. And when I told him no, then they should have just took no. It shouldn't be when I moved here 3 years ago that I thought about speaking French or something just to get out of talking to people, or it doesn't matter. I did try speaking or just staying silent and they still won't leave you alone. They still come by the house and they'll just yell at your door. And if like the neighbor's door is open, we have the AC on all day and just do the downstairs. So our doors, thank God, are closed, like the windows but being the neighbor doesn't, they are always at her door and they just don't answer them. But for me, it just makes me, for me, I just feel bad about it. And it's like, but then I just quickly got over it. So I kind of go through these phases, but it's the way that I was already out there and they just come beelining. And then I had to go back out there a second time. They were still out there. And I'm just like, oh man, please. I hope they don't, say something again. But me, I call it ballsy because they do tend that to me, it's a lot of balls to me to be told no. And then they're persistent. That's when I feel they feel they're entitled. If you tell them no, they shouldn't keep on. I didn't experience that. Now they may be getting worse in the US. I know that the poverty level and then people asking for money, like when we come off the interstate, when he's living in Florida, it became more and more during the pandemic. But if you told them no at the window, they went away. If you're in Manila, and when we went through Makati in certain areas, they will beat your window. And even if you tell them no, they will start picking at your car and messing with your door handles. So that's what I'm talking about. In Mexico, we went through Mexico and nobody asked us for money when we went places. We never had anybody at the house. We never had any of those issues. Now, during some of the festivals, there were street people that performed. Like some of them would dress up as clowns and they were at the lights. They had little cans asking for something after they performed and they were tossing like the rings and everything. And I was like, okay, I see why they're asking for that. But that is, if I had to list three things would make me leave, it's that. If they persistently keep doing that, that's just really, it's really hard. It's really hard. And it is against the law. It is against the law, but that's what I feel is they don't enforce the laws here. It just, I don't feel that they're all being enforced. I think only when something goes bad, they enforce them in front of everybody. And, but again, it's not enough to make me go. So that is for sure. Hey, what is going on? Slick Rick is in the house. Richie Rich and his beautiful wife abroad is in the house. Hey guys. No, they do. They're the one month millionaires that come over here. No, and they live here. Like they will live here and they will live on credit cards. They blow through their savings or they live beyond their means to look like that in front of other expats. So when we first got here, especially with me being a female and George, we were constantly picked on about being, we should have did better. We should have done more. And it's like, screw that. I ain't trying to. No. But here's the thing on a side note, it is the weirdest country that I've been in where, well, yes, yeah, actually the balance of poor and people that are spending money seems to be more and more and more. When we were at the mall, people were all at the expensive restaurants, all Filipinos mostly, at these places that cost American prices. Now, when they're there, usually they're celebrating something. Could be just the weekend, but the amount of money, like when we went to the Nathaniels, guys, check out our last video. We usually release now probably about 2 videos a month besides our live stream. It shows us at I call it Nathaniels or Nathan Short, where they had the coconut pies. We freeze them and then re-eat them and stuff. But a lot of people there spending money on that, and they're $5-6 for for the little box of pies. And for me, that seems expensive for Filipinos. That if 1,000 pesos a day is paid, that's good money. And I was also just realizing that when we were at the bank the other day, that some of the simplest jobs there all require college. And I bet most of them didn't make the 1,000 pesos a month. So to see the pies at 300, 350, or the bread George took to, he went to a party later that night for the family. It just seems high, but it's, they got to get their money too. But yes, I agree on the millionaires, the amount of money being spent. During the pandemic, we were here. I felt at one point, I stated that I felt that when the expats returned, the money, the cost has shot up. And I still stand by some of that. Others said, no, it's not. It's just the way the economy is going. I think even George said that, but I still believe the more expats that came in, the cost went up. So the more, and we're not just talking about Americans, Brits, you guys got to remember that includes Koreans that spend a lot of money, the Chinese that come in. It just, more of a demand for housing, and it did increase. And so the cost has gone up, but it is still better than the US. Hey, Carol, what is going on? Do you have any old fashioned chocolate donuts? I don't know what he still got. He's still, that better not be Liz. If it is, I just told him. 1 second, guys. So anyways, he brought the little, oh no, I just set him down there for Mary. That's bad business. Okay, let's see. He got, this is the other one. Mr. Donuts is to me a lot like Dunkin', but it's a fraction of the cost. He was out doing a few things this morning. It's like half the week he just does his thing, and it's locked up in there. Let me see, guys. No, he got those ones got chocolate and the others have like a strawberry in it, guys. So I told him to see about the other ones. He tends to get the same ones. But I'm just glad that he thought about me. Yeah, they last us like 3 days. So I did make like a rice, like a Middle Eastern like rice that had a spice and a like a tandoori chicken, and I put it inside there with some vegetables and cooked it like in a small crock pot last night. It's pretty yummy. So I did some cooking last night, so that's what's for lunch. Yeah, no, it's bad. And here's the thing. This is the point I'm at. George asked me the other day. He goes, "You're really bloated." I said, "Yeah." I said, "I'm on steroids now twice a day for my lupus, and because I started having asthma issues, and I don't know if it's the humidity or what it actually is." And I had to start a second one again. And since I've been on steroids this past year, it's just been crazy. The weight doesn't matter what I eat. Like George will say to people, like when we're at the mall, he goes, "I eat way more than her," and he jokes because he's the one that's eating stuff at the mall. But I'm gonna eat it. I've cut back. Like I use a what's the sugar? I used to use like stevia, but it started giving me migraines. So I'm using, I'll have to find the name of it. It's more of a natural sugar. So I use that in coffee and teas and stuff, and then I save my sugar for that. But hey, what is going on, Hillbilly Pyro? What is going on? The bank ATM ripped me off during Easter. They get glitchy during the holidays, and it kept timing it out on me. Oh, and I finally got the 10 out, and it charged me 8 times. Yeah, that's insane. For those that know us, when we first got here, um, George did a transaction from the ATM and he took out, usually in the beginning, he was doing it like 3 times, taking out like 30,000, 40,000 pesos. And when he did it, he took out the three amounts. They claimed he got four, and he's sure of it. He brought the receipts. He showed the receipts. They claimed that they did. And this was at BDO, and we fought them for a while, and then our bank gave us the money temporary back in the US. And then BDO, he went to the office, we went to the office. They said, "Nope, we're showing." And he's like, "Dude, check the cameras." And they're like, "Oh, well, we can't." And we went through that whole thing. They refused to show us the cameras or talk to the people for the cameras. I said, "You need to prove it." And I was about to go off. I'm telling you, I was about to get deported, man, because I'm sorry, it's 200. And I said, "You can't lose 10,000 pesos." And then in the end, they told our bank that we definitely got the money, and that was the end of it. That was the end of it. And definitely not. I mean, I was there and it did not happen. So it was insane. But this happened a few years back. And so we try not to use BDO, but yeah. Yeah. My bank said disputing the charges would auto cancel my ATM card. Yeah. They gave us the money, but then, yeah. Now, I did get my money back for Bayad over the electric bill, but here's the thing I realized. If you don't do those payment centers, and even I felt like one time we got glitched by Gcash, that we paid the electric bill one time, same, almost the same thing happened, but it just canceled out and never paid it, but it didn't take the money. It wasn't during business hours for the electric company. I don't know if there's a remittance for the electric, but George is like, "Don't use them again." And I said, "Yeah, but you're busy, you're gone, you're at your family's house a lot lately." I said, "You're sleeping." I said, "We're on different schedules now." And I said, "And then I'm going to ask you when you're half asleep to go pay the electric bill across the street." And in the end, I said, "I will try it again." It had to be like a glitch, but I think I paid him off business hours. So I will make sure this time, and I just have to make sure, that I have extra money in the house so we can go and run and do it in case it does. Like last time, I had to take money out of the savings just to go pay it. So, yeah, like the pickles. Exactly. Here, one second. Yeah, see, there's someone out there yelping now. No, actually, they're gone. Might have been for the neighbor. Pickles. Rent a hotel room. I kind of missed. I know I've been talking about different things. I'm still stuck on the ATM and the electric bill. Dear Geo, have a safe, fun, fantastic, great week. Yeah, he does a lot of traveling. I wish I could financially with the two of us and then with the pets and stuff. Being gone more than 2 days would be, you know, too much, probably even more than the day. And then just health wise, it's hard for me with the lupus and other issues to actually do much of that. So, yeah, last couple years has been rough, but we still do the little things and everything. We're still planning to rent out that house, the Airbnb, for our birthday and do some things and plan some stuff in July. So for our birthday month, hey Grammy, what is going on? Sandy from Mid Michigan, Magadan. Magadan. Well, it's almost, well, it'd be in the afternoon if you're in the U.S. Hapon, Magadan, Omaga, Magadang Aro from US. What's going on, W? Angelo, good morning. Good morning. And let me know, guys. Let me know if it bothers you more than any place you've been at, like when the people ask for money. And at first I was just doing it all the time. My very first experience in the Philippines was I was in the van. We were being taken to the hotel, and we stopped at the Jollibees here in Angeles. And there were several people all over the van asking for money. And so when we offered food, most of the time they'll turn you down. So we've been known to give out food, but when they start denying food, the woman here said it was for food. And so at that point, I probably should have, but being she was bothering me while I was doing stuff in the yard. And for me, guys, with my medical condition, when I get out, it was already hot outside in the sun. I get dizzy. You guys know I've fallen down. I get off balance. I just didn't need anything. I cannot be distracted to some extent. And they were just yelling and, hey, hey, hey. And I'm like, mm-mm. So it's, it's hard for me to say no. And then on the other hand, at this point, I'm now getting irritated, and it is. I mean, I get that they don't have anything and they need something, but when people keep giving them the money, then they're never going to attempt to use that money for anything else. Like, at least you'll see the people that are hustling, no matter, like, when they don't have anything. Like, I've seen this entire documentary where on the documentary, there was a woman that basically worked for the ice and a little bit of food she had in the house. She worked all day. She literally went around, collected scrap and plastic, no matter where it was, and the dumps, everything else. But she took her kids with her because she couldn't leave them behind certain age, and she had to pedal them around, plus the plastics and everything, just to buy ice to have cold water to actually drink along with her food. And I told George, I said, if we were in the US, and I've been homeless twice, I mean, I'll be 54 this year. And it's like, I still did what I had to do. And so you buy something with the first amount of money that you get from a family member or whatever, and you try to sell it, or you keep looking for work. And I get that it's hard to get work here, but you can still do it. But I just start going through the things in my head that, buy something, resell it, because you'll see the sellers all over the place. But I also understand that it's really tough too, because there's a lot of people. So, but I don't think they should rely on, because the Filipinos will not do it. I've seen them flat out turn them down. The only reason they're up here, which is really irritating, is because the political guy. The political guy breaks every rule in the house, and supposedly he has a position above the mayor, but at the same time in the office or something. He's got a big compound. His kids and family are allowed in there. They're the first to break all the rules on, like, they burn. He's partially responsible for the burning trash next door. So everything that can be done wrong, the guy is doing. And then he's handing out money from his house, and he's running for we have the elections coming up on the 12th. I believe that's Monday. And they're still here whether it's time for election or not. And they just pile up there starting early AM, and they come at night and everything else. And so I probably would not be as targeted here if it wasn't for him handing out money over there. And then I just started saying no all the time. It started up again. So, and then it happens out and about. And I mean, I don't get it like when I'm at the malls, of course, and I don't get it. But if I'm in just regular neighborhoods or out on the main strips in Angel City or Mabalacat, yeah, you're going to get it. So I think I said hi to you, Jen, real quick. I'm just got thinking about that again. I use various ATMs for years without issues. Yeah, maybe a use per week for a total, maybe 200 times and no issues, but was always worried for sure. Yeah, I can't remember. I don't think it was our third time. I think they claim we had 4 transactions and we only had 3. So when we seen the 4th charge, they did claim we got it. And I said, "Are you sure, George? Because usually we do get it." And he's like, "No." And he counted it right there in front of me. And I'm like, "No." I said, "No, you got the receipt showing the time, but they just wouldn't do it." And so, and it was in the daytime. But that was during the pandemic. There was a ton of people there that day. He said that the ATM had went dry too. So, but I don't know why they said there was a 4th time. Hey Heidi, I thought you had a new hairstyle. Was it a wig? I have been wearing wigs. I do it just for fun, and I actually am starting to like them. I was going to put one on today, and then I just decided to let you guys see that I do have my hair. So, no, I really, yeah, I like the ones that I've been. I think officially I got like 4 or 5 of them. On the last live stream, I had the super curly hair. You might be talking about the silver one. There's the blonde one. So I got like 3 or 4 of them I've been wearing on a regular basis. But the last one, I remind me of one of those caterpillars that had the orange through it. They're the little furry caterpillars in Ohio. Mexican fire eaters. Yeah, it was pretty cool during festivals. Like I said, they held the cans out just for a performance thing, but never had any issues. And there were some really poor people in Mexico, really poor people. And they just worked it, just they found a way. So keeping up with the the Reyes, yeah, or the Rays. Yeah, I thought about that. I just don't know where people are getting the money. It just the amount of money. Every time I go somewhere, there are people spending money, a lot of money. So I joke about being a welfare case here, but I feel like it sometimes. And then if I go to buy something, like when we go to the market, and then they're asking you, do you want to buy a bunch more things? It's like, no. So it's just like, no, I go broke and go broke quick. So no, it's just people spending a lot of money here. I don't know where they get the money. I would like to know because I just would like to know. That's just the thing. I don't have a way to replace money. That's another scary part for me is we're not investing. I'm not investing any money in the stock market or doing anything. We don't have the money to lose. And I'm not going to open a business. Could we open something with remaining money? Yeah, but businesses just don't do this well. We're not going to get into real estate. We're not going to get into something that's going to make us full time. So for George to try to go back where he's just doing part-time, online stuff for himself, making some money and writing and doing things, that's different. But besides that, at our age, even his age, it's hard to get a job for him. So I don't have any way to replace the money. And so, but they do see us as an ATM. And George just looks like he just looks like an OFW. He just screeches OFW. But do you guys see my earrings? Can you see them? I don't know how well you guys can see that. I guess you'd have to zoom in. They're little teeny furry pigs. They're made it what looks like almost like a plastic, but they're little. I thought they were cute. Yeah, I like doing the crazy jewelry. It ain't crazy. It's just something different. Good morning, Philly in the Philippines is in the house. Brian. Krispy Kreme donuts are the best. Yeah, they had some Easter ones that, like we said, they had the icing on it, but they really weren't super sweet. That's, yes, I would agree. Krispy Kreme. Yeah. So it's like, why not? I'm already chunky. So I don't do any party favors. I don't smoke cigarettes. I don't do anything. And I don't even overeat. I just happen to gain weight really easy, and the steroids are just killing me the last couple of years. So when me and George met, I'd been working out twice about, well, sometimes I'd go back to the swimming pool one day, but it was like 6 days a week. And I just, with the lupus, and I started getting sicker and sicker, then I slowed down. I'd like to start going to the pool again. And I do stuff all day. Like I don't stop moving or sit down. I'm always moving. But my metabolism at this age is killing me. But I'm going to get those donuts. So George does all the above except for smoke. Spiritual Prepper is saying hi. He's saying hi to Brian. Just have donuts today. Mini strawberry is good. The little ones that he got here has little stuff in the middle of them. I like the little ones because like 2 or 3 of them equal a donut. The donut place on every corner here in Makati, tough to lay off. They got a lot of sugary, greasy food here in the Philippines, and I probably would have gained weight. I didn't gain till I actually entered the Philippines, and I told George, and he agreed that we ate a ton of stuff in Mexico. Like we were eating all the burritos and all the Mexican food plus rice. We were always ordering pizza because there was a pizza shop and there was a pandemic and he's locked down. So then we did that. And then there were wings all the time. I was baking stuff all the time. We were eating chocolates. But somebody said that we had just stopped like working and doing things. And so maybe when we slowed down, just the metabolism really kicked in. I was still chunky back then, but I don't know, quite a bit of weight since I've left. And so, yeah. Kind of where it is, but going to have them donuts. My girl has a family member that takes care of pets. We get our Persian cat groomed, clipped, and their shots done. Yeah, they'll do them. So I'm glad to hear that because now we have 2 mobile. We have the vet that comes here and does things. The next thing we have to do is we have to do Gucci's tooth. We still haven't. The cat has, I'm thinking it's a bad tooth and it just won't drop out. I don't know why it hasn't, like on a piece of food, broken out. So we have to do her next. But no, these guys are cheaper than the other one. I just don't want to pay $20 to bring in this guy. We had to pay 20 on top of the last 2 visits. That's why George manually went into the regular vet because the mobile one doesn't do everything. He only does mobile. And so we weren't going to bring him in for an extra $20 just to take him back. And we just took him to the regular vet. The original one that we were going to take before, before we had him done here. We have 2. Hey, Heidi, what happened to the Russian YouTuber that got in trouble? Did you ever do an update on him? There's a ton of people that have covered it, so we just stopped. He ended up going, they got him, I believe they call it Vicatan, so he's not getting out. As a matter of fact, there were some people that were making posts saying he did get out, and they were putting a lot of false information. They found old footage, or his manager released a bunch of footage recently where he was helping out people and Filipinos and at a church, and So maybe he did do some good stuff while I was here, but it doesn't make up for all the bad stuff he's done. And he even made a comment that he wanted to go to Filipino jail. He's hoping he would get done up the butt, is what he said, or something. He gonna get his wish there. So, but no, he's in jail, sweetie, and they're not going. The president got involved, so that was the only update that we did, is that they're not going to let him out. So, the heck. I love my credit union. I was ripped off by BDO arms 3 times using my car. Yeah, BDO. We try only once, like where we didn't want to drive somewhere else. We took the e-trike over there, and I didn't want to go traipsing everywhere. It's too hot. And so we used them once to get money out to pay something, but that was the it don't it, mm-mm. No, that's no. A lot of people like the credit union. What's going on, Hector Sperlin? GM Heidi, listening to in Bree, California. What is going on? Our Philippine journey is in the house. Yeah, I was just watching your video in regards to them reopening Alcatraz. They'd be better just tearing that down and redoing it. So a lot of things. The only other thing they were talking about besides that is when the president was asked, did they want to send the troops, or we heard that you're going to send troops into Mexico to help fight the cartel. He said yes. He did not deny that. And I'm like, holy crap. No way. No way. The Middle East will be like a dream if they compared to sending them into Mexico. I just don't get it. And then George went on and was telling me how he knew, remember how he was saying that they got to keep some sort of something going at some time. He said, I just didn't think it would be Mexico. And I said, well, yeah, that's kind of crazy. So I'm sorry if you guys watch, it's really gotten bad in Mexico now, as far as, and now that they've blocked off the border, a bunch of people have backed up and they're just sitting in Mexico now. So you got everybody from all those countries that are just sitting there, and Honduras and all that. Let me tell you what, them people, I'm going to tell you right now, yes, play with it if you want to, but that's just, and like George says, technically he doesn't care about the troops. It's if he does that, that's a nightmare. But we shall see. I just went through a divorce. I'm living in my truck, but I'm still employed. I just refuse to pay that crazy rent. Yeah, that's crazy. But thankfully, I still own a house. Are you renting it out? Is that why, Jose? Um, yeah, I mean, I told George, for me, I don't need fancy things. I don't need to travel. I'm happy with buying a few things here and there off of Lazada and Shein, and just getting things for the cats and spending time with George and the cats. And we go out a few times a month and go out to eat. I just want to be comfortable. At this point, every day that I live from here out, my mom passed away in 1999 of cancer, and she was 50. So I've outlived my mother. And then I had a stepmother that's raised me since I was 3. She passed away a few years back. And, when you see people that are suffering in a certain illness, and I worked with people before that were sick, and I just need the simple things. And I knew the Philippines would give me that and give me that peace of mind without paying a ton of money. So cost is the biggest reason I'm here. Our rent is 10,000 pesos, 2 bedroom, 2 bath, or what's that? Currently about 180 a month. So, but who knows where me and George would be at this point? He was running a business. We had several cars. I told him if the pandemic wouldn't have got the business, because a lot of our friends that had businesses were a small business. He had had his business for 11 years. If that didn't get it, then this that's going on now would have, because the supplies would have all been from China and other places, and the inventory, and then just cost. So it's, who knows, but I'm just, I'm thankful I'm here. Doesn't mean I have to put up with crap, but in the beginning, I got really upset about a lot of things, and I still do, depending on the day. But I used to get upset about this and that, and then I realized, okay, all the YouTube videos that I watched and heard from friends, it's like, yeah, you can't fight the system. You want to, but you don't have to lay down either, because that's where I got upset. That was the whole point of this. Is I'm not going to be a human ATM 100% because somebody's banging at our gate, pushing their mother forward. The woman pushed her mom forward and then pointed at her eyes. She goes, "She's blind." I'm like, I could see that lady. I got eyes. What the hell? And it's like, I was really ready to snap. And then George won't deal with it. Like, George, if I say, "Hey, George, can you come here for a minute?" George's like, "Nope." And I'm like, "Damn, boy." So I've been left to actually stand on my own. So, but it's just where it is. Like, damn, I got eyes. I can see that she's blind, but it's not going to make me give you money. And then if you ask to give them food, then they don't want the food. But you don't have to lay down and deal with it. You still got to be to a level of respectful. Now, until somebody puts their hands on me, I'm still okay. They can shout things and say things and all of that. And you got to be careful because the kids, and some of them will. Some of the adults on the street asking for money tend to touch you. And I still feel that's them trying to pickpocket or do something. The touching kind of bothers me situation, but you have to be respectful. You don't want to get in trouble either, but you don't have to take it. Because I told George, I said, just because, like I said earlier, for those that weren't here, just because I'm living here doesn't mean that I have to lay down because, I have heard this from Filipinos, well, this is my country. If you don't like it, then go home. Very far and in between, but I've heard it. And it's like, I don't have to. This is a free planet. That's where I'm at on it. You can have respect for the culture and you can live in peace, but just like if they got their stuff and paperwork and was legal and everything else, they were in the US, same thing. You have the right to be there too. So I'm not going with that thing that this is their country first shit. And these days, I tend to be older than a lot of them that are harassing me. Well, except for this woman the woman was probably younger than me that was showing me her mother, but I probably guess the woman was closer to 50 herself. But, oh boy. He's saying hi to Mike. When I was living in the Philippines, this lady will have this paper route every morning by knocking on the door of the barangay for money. Um, you just mentioned barangay. Yeah, at least she's trying to do something. There was George was just telling me that when he was heading, he had gotten gas. He said he went through an area where the barangay actually stopped the car and asked for money. He said that they're out there, and I said, "Yeah, he's probably keeping it for himself." He goes, "No, there were a bunch of them out there." I said, "Yeah, they're probably going to keep it for themselves," but he said it was normal. He said it was. He goes, "No," he goes, "It's a Filipino thing," and I'm like, okay, it's but he said they're actually stopping people and then asking for money, a collection of money. But I've heard that about bridges in certain areas here in the Philippines that they actually stop people too and they actually collect money. So, who knows? Willie. All right, there's nobody out there. I'm going to get Willie washed the next time and clipped. I'm not going to do him every time because I just put the flea oil where I would have done him. So I'm really happy about that. Yeah, so that's what I mean. And I told George, I said, if I have been homeless, George has, and it's like, if that was me now and we lost everything, trust and believe you're gonna find me down on Walking Street, Blue. Well, what's up? Shit, I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna be picking scrap up. I'm gonna be doing something. May lay down and take a nap for a little while because of the heat. And it's going to be rough because I think about it. We're this close as Americans for the Social Security system to drop out. And if the Social Security system drops out because of the stuff that's going on in the US, there's going to be a lot of people in trouble. It's really going to hurt us. So, I mean, we have oh shit money in the bank, enough to take us back to the US, and we would have to live with somebody, or as we are looking for places and doing things, we'd have to start over. We'll get a job one way or the other. We're not in our 70s or 80s. There was this woman that just did a video. She was crying, like legitly crying. And I listened. I said, "Oh, this is another one of them jokes or whatever." No, she was serious. She lives up on like the eighth floor, and the elevator wasn't working. And some old man had an oxygen tank with him, and he had to work. He was in his mid 80s, and he's out there delivering food. And she only ordered one individual item. And she goes, "Why the hell are these guys out here having to work? Because they can't live on just the Social Security." And if I was just on the Social Security and the savings I had, I probably would have to live with the kids. Or like at that time, like when I met George, I was doing a part-time job. I was allowed to do it on my disability, trying it out. And I was living at my dad's apartment. He had a mother-in-law apartment and he had an oversized property. I lived there for almost 10 years. So I don't know. It's just like, so it's sad. It's really sad. So I have more opportunity here to chill and be able to afford things. And it gives George now time to do the things that he wants to. And I think a lot more people should consider the Philippines, especially what's going on. I'm going to tell you what, by Christmas time, the US is going to be really upside down. So always stacked up against us guys. Yeah. Hey, what's going on, sweet Caroline? Divorce is like a baseball, 3 strikes you're out, but stay single. Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. I've been asked several times, what if George falls down the stairs? Which, by the way, guys, I got that song. I was going to play it today. I created this one that we played today about the hot sun and my eyeballs are on fire, my eyeballs are sweating. But I do have one about the stairs for George. I did that one yesterday. And so it's hilarious. So I'll play that on the next live. Keep dropping. Oh, I got it. It's because I'm sloshing the cup. I'm wondering, it might be the sweat on it. I never try ATMs over the weekends or holidays. Yeah, I think I tried it too early because I can't sleep more than I sleep a couple hours at a time, get up at 3, sleep for a couple hours, back up at 5. And the older I get, and with pain and different things going on, I just get up. And I had a really bad asthma attack last night. I had to hit the inhaler and take even a 3rd steroid pill. It was just like, so. And I don't have sleep apnea. A couple people said maybe I did, and no, I've been tested. No. I did try to get one of those nose plug things that are supposed to help, like I got the tape, and even though I don't have greasy skin, I think the humidity makes it pop up. So I thought maybe I'd get more air because my nose. Remember, I said I was going to get a nose job. Maybe I'll add that to my birthday thing. So we will collect for my nose job for my birthday. But no, it's a little rubber thing, but it's super soft. And I waited to see if it was going to harden up. But you put them inside your nose, it didn't do nothing. With the length of my nose, it just seems like it took up the room inside my nose, and it seemed to clog it more than anything. So. Hey, what is going on, Ruby? Good morning. Could you ask the Politico to let the people know his choice to give gifts? Please don't. You can't say nothing in this neighborhood. And I wouldn't dare, because if I do, just like when the last burning happened, poor Willie was out there. There was ashes dropping in his water. It was getting in. George had the upstairs balcony door open. It was getting in there, and George didn't say nothing. And we actually can't. So you just can't. You have to choose the areas carefully where you live. We didn't know that he was a political person, and we didn't know, like, this subdivision has 2 entrances and there's no gates that close to it. They have one that closes sometimes, but there's nobody doing any maintenance in here. They're not taking care of things inside of here. But him, no, he's the worst offender on anything. You can't, no. He's a big political person here, and that's a no. His family's got money, several cars. He's the one where, remember when we first did live streams here 3 years ago, and you kept hearing the revving of the car, and he has the motors that are, or the tailpipes that are illegal, and they made him remove them. And like Manila, they got rid of a bunch of them and they said, hey, don't have them on the cars. He has one. And he would sit there and rev at early AM and late at night when he would come in, or if he partied, he'd come in at 2 in the morning and rev his car. And I'm like, what is even the purpose of that? But he was revving it. But that, and they're the ones that approve to burn the trash in the lot. And he pays somebody to do it, and he has them go over there. And if I call the fire, whatever, and it's illegal here in the Philippines, then they're going to find out it's me, and then they're going to start harassing us and can't. So I just, you just work around the system. So they get the money from the tourists and the OFWs. Oh, you talking about like where I said, where is everybody? Yeah, that is my belief. I know some of them do have money when they're coming from foreign countries. And then there are people, in this day and age, you do have the ones that are vlogging and making money. And here's the thing that we don't have here for me and George, is that there's not like three different families living with us. Like a lot of people that you'll see, like George says, they're renting their cars, making the payments, and then the others, there's several people paying the rent. So you got somebody splitting the rent, splitting the electricity, which allows each of them to spend more. So we don't. George's family has a compound. Like there's several people like there. So like just part time. Like his brother's over there, but like he doesn't have to. They don't have to like it. I'm trying to figure out how to say this about the family home. It's been there forever. His mom and dad are back in the United States. His daughter and a bunch of people have lived in there, and his uncle goes over there all the time. But it's kind of like families tend to split the expenses when they all live together like that. So I think that's the other way that they can afford things. That, and I mistaked in the beginning about the clothes that weren't real, that looked super expensive, and that it's actually knockoffs and stuff. And a lot of poor people here, but every restaurant is full. Yeah, and there's tons of them. There's tons and tons and tons of. The amount of food here is unreal. It is really unreal. Hey, what's going on, Luca? Is George a dual citizen? If he is, you guys can try Paggy Big MP2. Fairly good dividends annually. Check it out. Passive income, no matter what. No, he's not. George is just a Filipino citizen. And as a matter of fact, we did complete the interview and an approval for the 13A. So that is all over with. We're just waiting to pick up the card. And they asked him that, and that's something they never asked before during all the process that I've been here. And I did hear that they're really going to start. I don't. I only know one resource that showed it, and I'm going to look more into it. It just looks like they're looking to end that dual citizenship. Okay, I'm just going by what they're saying's out there because of what's going on around the world and everything. There, you can have it, but it's not going to go as far or something. There, people trying to have it good in both countries. They're looking to cancel it out in some countries, and they were very adamant about it. They were like, like, oh, are you a dual citizen and this and that? And I was like, yeah, no. So I don't know if that had made the difference in the interview or not. So, but they didn't actually ask then, but they actually pulled us aside after we had already left. We were halfway out the door, like up the way, and they said, hey, come back. And George said, run. He is not. And yeah, we're aware of some of the things, yes. Most Filipino families live together in a house where intergenerational families live. Yeah, so they pull their sources together. Like for George's family, like his brother will come over, his uncle will come over. There's several rooms. They store stuff like from his dad and everything. George's childhood stuff is there. But his daughter is the one that's been there, like consistently. And then he has all of his aunts and uncles over in San Fernando and everything. So I'm lucky because when the card went down, we had an issue where the card went down during the pandemic. They gave us money until the card came for like over 2 months. So we had some savings, but we needed to get extra stuff. And so, no. So I'm lucky. They're the ones that gave him the used card that he still uses. And so, oh, thank you so much, Marianne. We will put that towards we're putting everything from the next 60 days towards our birthday funds. And we're going to go. There's this place that costs as much as our rent, and it's over by a riot. And so it's got like a full size swimming pool. So I'm looking to get out there. And I think we're still just going to do several things. Like I'm going to get the inflatable pool and do the hot dogs, and we'll probably have to do it on a night where the market is here, and we'll do it more towards the evening where there's no sun. And I think we'll do the hot dog giveaway and everything. And I'm trying to save enough money to get a new hard drive, but George wants to get one of the miniature ones for our birthday. They're smaller, so we're not dealing with an oversized desktop. So we need the computer, the one that we have, is not it's getting ready to go out of, they're not doing any updates or anything. That's how old it is. So I don't know, it's 4 or 5 years old. So it's slow. It takes forever to edit. And we do have another one that we had gotten from somebody, and it, like George says, it doesn't have the strength to do a lot of things. So, but we still appreciated getting it. So he uses that to do some of his work, but it's not strong enough to do other things. So, and that was more than a year ago. But we need something more updated on the computer. But everything will go towards that for this month and June, and then we always have a good time on our birthdays. GOA, what's up? Thank you for the updates. Free Vitelli. Send baby oil. And then the Diddy trial is on. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it'll be interesting. Everybody knows about it. It's kind of like the OJ thing, but even worse now. Like everybody knows about everything. And some people are some got out of it, but the others aren't now. Now they're like, oh, okay. And they're still. I'm surprised we haven't seen more election trucks. We will. It was going on yesterday. They had a whole rally at the basketball court, but the next few days will probably be crazy with the election stuff. Alcatraz will become Trump Resort. Yeah, I haven't watched the entire thing on that, but it's another one of those crazy ideals. He's trying to restore his, I get the golden age and all that, and he's trying to turn. I just think it's all crazy. He can just build another one over there if that's what he wants. I never use ATMs. That is not within the BDO bank premises. We usually do try it, and it was there. It was actually at the physical bank. We never used the loose ones. Since then, most of our stuff is closed in the US. So now I even got Social Security here. It's directly in. The manager comes. It's a passbook. And I actually physically go in to do it. So I'm, I'm glad that that's out of the way. So we have several banks here now. So everything is done here. That's how sure I'm not going home. I cannot afford to restore my Yugo. Renting in the Philippines is the way to go. I just seen another expat that's building. He says he had built his home in the United States, and he's building one that's like brick to brick. And I don't know where these guys are getting the energy. I don't have the energy to get through my day, but that could just be the lupus talking. But the guy's probably in his 70s, and I'm like, why would you come here? I mean, I get he's got a young wife and everything. I don't think there's a kid yet. And he's over there in the Dumaguete area. And I'm like, God, why? Why in your 70s would you want to go through that? I mean, I guess they're kind of like me, there's that's what I'm going to do one of the live streams about. You get bored, which is a luxury now. So you get the boredom sometimes, and I get that. But on the other hand, it's a lot of work. I mean, you could be You can be like George said, laying pipe with the lady instead of building something, like build her or something, I don't get it. I don't, and there were no kids. So I guess he wants to leave it for her, but I really wonder if the women would rather have the money themselves afterwards versus putting 80, 90, 100,000 into a house. Who knows? I just can't see it. Watch us in a few years get some sort of inheritance or a windfall or something, and then we're building it like that. It's like, no. I thought about that. I said, we've been saying it, and then it's going to be like, just like Gio said he wasn't going to, we didn't think Gio would get married. It'd be like us building a house. Hey, Gio. Oh, where's little Gio? They're sleeping somewhere. Oh, I feel bad because George had to cage the guy, take their mommy away this morning. Them kids are still feeding. Good thing the incision that they did when they were here is on her side, but they're still nursing on her and they're huge. They're almost as big as her now, like their length and stuff. And when she's eating and standing, they hook up underneath her. It's crazy. Hell yeah. I'm telling you, I'll send George out there. I mean, kidding you, man. And let me tell you what, I am sure there'll be some clientele, all big and everything, all big and fluffy. George's like, oh hell yeah, somebody will. He knows the George gets, free samples, free samples here. What the hell? They will. Hmm. They will. So you getting tired of Boney and Brown? Are you getting tired of her? Come get some of this big white fluffy lovin', and I'll be selling that shit all day long. Hmm. Don't tell George I said that. Whenever the street children or beggars ask for money, just say, no money, I'm poor. My uncle has had street kids rush him for money. Yeah. We locals had to tell them he's poor, no money. Yeah. And we have and that's for me, like people said, if you have it, give it. But even if you have it, like some of these expats are making 3 times as much as I am. It's some of them are making 5, 6, 7,000 with different investments and all that. And I don't make that kind of money. I don't even make 4,000 a month. I'm not, we don't have that kind of money. And I get that we have more than the average person too, but it doesn't mean like nobody's going to catch Heidi. Have you seen the homeless Americans around here or the homeless expats? Some Filipinos will give them food and help them. And I appreciate the people that help them. But for the most part, nobody's going to back me up. Nobody, probably even to get a job would be an impossible. And so if you just keep going and giving away, next thing you know, you're just boom, broke. And so that would be my concern is we were doing it a lot in the beginning. And then I just had to say I had to stop. But my concern that day was the way they did. So I started to rush away a little bit. And I'm like, I'm going to rush, trip, and fall. Like literally the way I turned around after I told her no, I was a little disturbed because she kept on going. And I have fallen outside before. And I'm like George says, sometimes I get rushed and then I'll get dizzy and the medications I'm on. And it just, you got to be careful. Right. Right. I hear you. Well, shouldn't have to. I'll put George out there. George will volunteer, maybe. They probably use the money for gambling or Red Horse. Now, that's another possibility. I want to let you guys know that because the last few people, when we said we weren't going to do it, they refused the money. Or they refused the food and wanted money. Same with the kids. And we have that kid we call Banana Boy, and like we forget they're growing up. We've been here for 3 years and he's getting bigger, right? And we call him Banana Boy because we offered food, including bananas, and they're like, we don't want that fruit. And I'm like, dude. And then it was money after that, and they did this a couple weeks ago, and I was like, no, we're not giving you money. Give me money. And I'm like, bye guys. And then now I just walk away. At first I felt bad about doing it. Now I'm like, oh hell no. I come in here and like when I'm doing going back and forth, picking things up and cleaning, I'm like, oh hell no, they didn't. And so it's just where it is. But no, that's possibility, yes. All we need to do is all we need to save Social Security is eliminate the income cap. The Republicans screw with Social Security, they won't win another election for 50 years. You know what I seen though? They're saying Obama now. Now the TikTokers and all this are showing Obama 2028, and I'm like, I don't know. It's like, can't we just get somebody else? I mean, I'm just saying, let's start fresh or something. Maybe I don't know. I no, they checked that out when I went in, like, for the test for, like, if I needed a CPAP or something. Um, a l They said what's going on. I get the deviated septum, it's something close. It is, like, if I do like this, I can breathe a little better. So, literally that nose job that'll lift my nose because I don't know if you guys can see. It's so pushed and with the humidity, I haven't been able to breathe right. It's my nose is not built for the weather. Ever since I've been here, I've had an issue. And so, if I get one of those, uh where they put the filler in or whatever, it's temporary. I think it'll cost about I think they're under $200 now US, so it's really inexpensive. In the US, it would probably be about $3,000. And they have professionals that do it here. It'll start to lift up. I told George the size of my nose, and I think the more older I get, I think it's sucking in. I think my face is collapsing. George says yes. Screw you, George. George is a smooth operator, man. No need to ask. He's a smooth operator. Speaking of which, sometimes he sends a message during the live. I use the ATM at the Mall of Asia more safely. Yeah, I try not to use any of them in the mall. I'm just glad we don't have to deal with. I just rather go in and get the money. So, in Australia, there are a lot of people living in shared houses. Yeah, those who can't afford to rent on their own couldn't get into a rental market. They save money to either rent on own or the house deposit. You know, like I said, I was starting to say earlier, somebody asked me what I would do if something happened to me and George. And I said, well, it'd probably be if he passes away first, would I stay? I would. And then my sisters have talked to me. I have several sisters that are in the United States and the kids are like, well, just, like planning ahead. They're like, you can come live with me. So if something happens, would I stay? I would stay, yes. If dementia and all that, which is very possible with our family history and with my lupus would come, then I would hire somebody in to come help me. It's still at an affordable level to have someone move in. Or my sister's like, oh, you could come back and live with me situation. And then it would just be my sisters living together. So that's why I started mentioning the falling down the stairs situation. But yes, living in a group like that, that was always us what us girls were going to do is we were all going to live together. So I have a lot of brothers and sisters, a lot of them. And so that was a plan with us girls was to all live together. So yeah, because there's actually I had to calculate uh 4, 5. So there's 5 sisters and I have 3 brothers. And then there was one adopted. So yeah. Good morning. What is going on, bad boy? What is going on, second wind? What is going on? Have you ever checked on if an American could get dual? No, there's no. No, I wouldn't even consider it. There's no reason. There's no reason for to do that. I've got permanent residency now. I can't see switching over. And I really believe they're going to start doing something about the dual citizen thing. I've never I mean, I understand the reason and I don't at the same time. It's the benefit in both countries, but I'm telling you what, The whole world is collapsing right now. I'm just going to stay a little on the negative side on that. So that I wouldn't doubt they would start eliminating that. It's like choose one or the other situation. I didn't think they would do the things they've been doing now. So thank you. Yeah. My eyes, they are dry. You sit down somewhere, second wind. Be sure to build me a swimming pool. I'm coming. Have a good night. Thank you, Jen. Be safe out there. Be safe. Might be gone. Oh, I'm almost caught up. My friend's wife often has Baggio come to her pawn shop to buy gold. They have money. Ah, really? I thought they were fairly well. Aren't they pretty self-sufficient out there, the Baggio? Baggio. You're talking about is that the ones that do the swimming and they live further out on the water? Because I watched a couple documentaries on that, and a lot of them seem to be like mixed, like because they come from the surrounding islands to the Philippines and they live out there in the water, out on the coastal water, and yeah, it's pretty cool out there. Hey, W from New York. I saw your video in the busy mall. Is air conditioning nice and cold? Looks like a space to spend a few hours. Yeah, it fairly is. For me, just being plus size, and I'm still, even after a couple years, not adjusted to the humidity. I'm gonna sweat anyways. Usually the expats I see, big or small, they're sweating. I just don't think we ever get used to it. I don't think our skin or our Western ways adjust to it. I am a little bit because no matter if I moved even an inch back in the day, I was sweating super bad. But it's fairly cold depending on the mall. We've been in some where it was like only halfway on. They're trying to save money. The thing for me is that they do tend to get packed. The problem that I have is the high transmittable possibility of TB. And this is not a scare tactic. The Philippines has the highest rate of tuberculosis. So if somebody coughs in the air and they've got it and you're nearby, you can get it. And I, with my autoimmune, I have hardly any, and I'm on steroids, like just not a little bit of steroids enough. And so I, try to wear face masks and it tends to drop out. Like I tend to stop wearing it because then I can't breathe through the face mask. So you'd want to make sure that, if you do, you're wearing a face mask. But I just don't like hanging out too long because of how crowded it is. And with the summer, there are a lot of people there just for the air conditioning. So there's nowhere to sit and chill sometimes. But I know our next trip will be. I was telling George about we have a movie up and coming. We want to go see a Final Destination there. So, yeah. What happened? Obama is for poor people, and you and I are poor. No, I hear you. I'm just saying, he did his thing back in the day. But here's the thing: there's been a lot more since he's been president that's come out about him. I don't know if we know he did some good things. So, and I mean, we shall see. If you are poor and vote Republican, you are shooting yourself in the foot. Most beggars in Manila are Baggio. Ah, thank you so much, Daryl. I appreciate that. How are you doing, Daryl? Looking healthier, actually. Actually, I think so compared to like a whole different day because when I looked at myself, like the camera angles, because there were a lot that I didn't show you guys. George is right. George will look at me some days and goes, "You're like twice as bloated," and it is. There's days where it's just I'm really like a balloon. I'm big, but we did get recognized by three people there. So usually we do. And George says, yeah, you speak of it, it happens. And when we said it on air that we'd be going, we'd probably run into people and we get recognized. So it's kind of cool because two of the guys were super excited to actually see us. So, well, the other one was, but these guys were really like, hey. And I didn't put the rest of that guy that was inside of immigration or heading that direction. It was pretty quick. Speaking to that guy, but really nice. It's nice. That's why we do the channel. Um, because it's not about the pay. It's money that goes right back into the channel and taking care of the cats and everything. It's the people that say, "Hey, you got me here and you guys are just doing this and that." And George lights up and I said when he walked away I said, "This is why we do it because this month we lost another $40." Like as far as we did the same stuff this month as we did last month and the money's going down. I still think it has something to do with they're just going to start paying less and less, and then it's going to be a pay 100% to play, and they're changing the field again. I think they're just getting oversaturated and they're spreading the money out, but it's not why we do it. We do it because just to talk to people and you know, yeah. But thank you, Daryl. Hey, 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 what's going on? Hey, sweet magic poison. Yes, Baggio are indigenous people that live in a community near the seawater. Yeah, they. I was watching that. It was quite interesting how a lot of them are like mixed from some of the different countries and how they built their lives out there. And yeah, so I know that they're everywhere. So, all right, guys. So, what else is going on today? Let me see if I could see if George is coming. George. Let's see. Did he try to call? That was the call. Oh, here's something I told George. So I sent a message when he was out. I said, "Hey, they're talking about the Pope. They're saying it's a good chance that there's two Filipinos that are up for Pope." And I said, "I'll tell you what, I will definitely go by the church and see the raccoon. I love raccoons. Me and George have a history like talking about raccoons. See him praying. I said I will definitely go by the church and start. I said if they make with the Pope, the Filipinos." One of the Filipinos, I said, I'll start going with you. And George said, okay, you know. And so I said, yeah, watch one of them become, and then I'm at to go. So, but yeah, so they're doing that right now. I know they've been talking about that right now. But let's see. He said something. I don't trust that, but we shall see. George says he found a laptop online that is $200. Oh no, that's kind of scary. But the thing we're running into now is ours is totally outdated with the windows and everything. And like when I go to edit and stuff, it's crazy how it takes forever to do anything. But it's like I said, it's a 5-year-old laptop, but it's a good one. I thought about taking in and having it worked on and have stuff added, but I don't know. I don't know. I think we decided it'd be more than trying to do it. Let's see. Yeah, I don't think so. He says he's still just sitting at the office. He goes, by the way, I'm not even close to being done. He says he's still just sitting there. So he hasn't even been seen. So yeah, they're just going to check the stitches and everything. So yeah. So, well, I have to run. City Hardware. Take care. Hope you get all those parts. So, yes, have you guys experienced that? That's what I'm talking about. Thank you, second one. Give George a big hug. I will. Be sure to I'll eat all the donuts up before he gets back. Yeah, like at a sugar rush. See you later, second one. So has anybody else experienced anything like that? Or did anybody else notice that here in the Philippines about, people that ask for money? And I read it all the time. So if you're not hearing it from somebody personally, that's one of the bigger complaints on like the Facebook forums and the Facebook itself, or just the forums about that. It's like, there's this, and that going on. And I was like, yeah, you guys got to be careful because even I haven't been approached at a mall yet, but they're saying that it can even happen at the mall. Oh, no. Let's see. I'm just looking for the article. So yeah, just let me know, guys, like what your experience has been. Has it seemed to be increasing for you guys? The internet's slow. The photos, nothing's loading. So that's just and it's been raining like crazy too. Mary, you gonna wake up? Hey, you want a donut? Mary. I bet she rattles her butt up for some donuts. Man, Mary, you want a donut? What? I told them when they were doing Mary's, doing her cut yesterday. I said, I watched him with the scissors lightly cut around her face. I said, man, I took the clippers. I said, zzz. I took her eyebrows off. I took her eyelashes off. He's like, that's funny. And I said, yeah. I said, am I supposed to save those or something? It looks like you got eyelashes this time, Mary. Mary, you want a donut? Here, I'll give you the back of the donut where it's just plain donut. Because I know you want some. Here, Mary. Just a little bit. I asked him, did he feel that she was overweight? Because he knew she wasn't pure Shih Tzu. Hey, Mary. Um, and I said, no, she's Pekingese. He goes, yeah, she looks something like that. But he says she's so good. She didn't move or nothing. Come here, Mary. Come here. Yeah, come here. We almost, look, we do match. Come here. Come on. Uh-huh. You got your police outfit on? Yeah, you a good girl. See, that's really good. Yeah, that's where she's discolored, by the way. That's color on that's not a sore. These are spots on her, by the way. They're just spots. Her hair is red there. It's kind of odd. It's hair. She did have hot spots at one point, but I think they just got colored with the medicine, or she's just got red hair because you can see she's got reddish hair here, but now they're just spots. Hi, Mary. You gonna say hi to the people? Huh? Are you cold? That's why I put clothes on you, huh? Look. Come on, turn around and say hi. I know, don't hold on so tight. I say hi. You got your feet. You kicking your feet up? Huh? You say hi? Yeah. Okay. I know you're looking for more donut, I'm sure. So yeah, I was looking to see about the electricity. Oh, that's right. They're going to be closed for the Jose Abad Santos Day. I think our bank is closed that day too. So another. I know there's a lot of down stuff. One Philippine cardinal is considered to be in the top four. He would be the first pope from any Asian region. Yeah, they're saying he's a lot like the last pope, and that's probably why. I thought there were two of them that were up there, but in the top, yeah. So it's a possibility I'll be going to church a lot more. So hey Heidi, what is the latest on the rapper who shot the guy? Nothing. That just totally dropped out of the papers. Nothing updated, nothing found. We dig a little bit, like we read a bunch of articles and we like go further into maybe looking at the page his manager had, and then we just stopped on that. Nothing's been in the papers or anything. So um yeah, it's very sad. No follow through. Just that he's supposed to get life, but I don't even know if he's even been sentenced because here in the Philippines, getting a sentencing could take a while, way longer than the U.S. So yeah. Oh, Angelo, back to sleep. Too hot. I don't know. Friday tomorrow, I'm gonna be out like a light, man. Yeah, that's Mary. That's my Christmas puppy. So all right, guys. I think I will wrap it up. I appreciate everybody stopping in and thank you for all the support today. Thank you, Marianne, and thank you, Daryl, for dropping in and giving us the sticker money. Let's see. And thank you to our members and our Patreon people, Sarah. A shout out to Ted. We had Gio in the house. Thank you, Jen. We had Philly in the Philippines. Our Philippine journey dropped in. Ruby, of course, one of our regulars. White Samurai and Curtis. Just running through to Curtis. Victor, of course. Thank you. Jen, Slick Rick. Richie was in the house today. All right, guys, consider membership, consider subscribing if you guys aren't subscribing, turn on the notifications, and I will tell George you said hi. I appreciate you guys, and I will talk to you guys later. All right, see you guys. Probably Saturday we'll do a live. So, all right, bye. Bye, guys.